Hello and welcome everyone. Today we're going to be showing you how to create your very own NFT collection if you want to create 10,000, whatever you'd like to create without needing to code. We're going to show you the step-by-step example, and we're going to be joined by an artist, how she was able to do this. So let's begin. Come with me. Hello and welcome everyone. Again, we are here talking about how you can create your own NFT collection step by step. We're going to show you how this is possible. You're going to be seeing our project, what we're launching right here and how we did it, and you're going to be seeing this step by step. You're going to be learning three things during this session: how to pick a platform to be able to mint these NFTs, how to design the images so you can be able to scale to create a 10,000 plus collection of NFTs, and how you can upload this using NFTnator and arranging metadata. So let me know in the comment section if you're an artist, an entrepreneur, how you want to be doing this. We're going to be going step by step, and we're going to be interviewing the artist as well, how she created Atom Bomb bunnies and the project behind it. So if you're watching live, let me know where you're watching from. If you're watching this on replay, remember, please say hashtag replay in the comment section down below. So we're going to get started. We're going to be looking at this step by step, and I'm even going to put this in the comment section down below if anyone wants the guide how to do this. Okay, so let's bring up the artist real quick, and then we're going to go from there. Okay, so we want to introduce Sabrina Peel. She is going to be on the show. So welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Awesome. By the way, Doc Lee, we see you on YouTube. Thanks so much for being here. If you're interested in this, let me know. I'll drop the Notion link right now as well. Okay, so again, thanks so much for being here, Sabrina. We're going to be talking about how to create this. By the way, Lee says hello as well.
Hi. Hello.
Okay. So we're going to be talking about how to create an NFT collection without coding. And we're going to go step by step throughout this process. Okay. So first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to go into how you created this. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So I do graphic arts, I do video editing, and digital illustration, using my iPad. And so I thought this would be just a fun opportunity, something cool to do.
Okay, good times. So I contacted you. We were talking about how to create this collection, how this would be possible. And if anyone saw this, Third Web just released how to release an NFT drop without writing code. So we actually showed step by step on the other channel how to do this, and you saw us go through this. But this is the high level today, talking about first picking a platform, designing the images, and then uploading it to NFTnator. So let's go through the first one. Okay, Sabrina, it mentions what platform should you choose. Now, we chose NFTnator, and this allows you to layer, but tell the good people what that is and how this helped you to create your collection.
Yeah, so I thought this was really helpful. I love how they have the example like the space snacks, and you can download the demo folder. And basically what it is, it's the flat image, or like the line art, the drawing of the snake. But then everything else that fits inside of that. So the color, the different accessories like clothes, expressions, things like that get layered on top of it. So it's like if you've ever worked in Photoshop or something like that, you have, one image, but there's multiple layers. And it's just the same idea with how they arrange the files for the NFTs.
Okay, cool. Now, now you're talking about layers and things like that. A lot of people that might be familiar if they've done, Photoshop or things like that. And I'm bringing in a section of some of the things, what it looks like when you were doing this. Talk about if someone is a total novice and they're an entrepreneur and they don't know how to do layers. Talk about what that is. How would you describe it?
Yeah, it's basically paper dolls. If you've ever seen paper dolls or played with paper dolls, you start out with the flat image and then you can layer things on top of it. So for instance, with this one, it's, you have the flat image of the bunny, but there are different colors that can go into it, and that's a separate file. there's different accessories, and that's a separate file. And then NFTnator just kind of takes it all and shuffles it.
Okay. And then that allows you, because if you're familiar with this, or someone's coming from this from coding and they're saying, well, how would this be possible? In the smart contract that you're writing, you're doing in an array. So you're having different characteristics, or you're saying this is the combination of what to do. The NFTnator already does all of those things for you. So when you're going through this process, you don't have to code it and tell the program what you're going to be doing. So if you go into NFTnator, you have all of these things right here. You have the accessories, you have the clothing, you have all the things, exactly what Sabrina was talking about. Then when we're going to, what is it, settings and traits, then you're already adjusting the rarity, the count, all of those things for your collection. And then when you go to generate this, now it's randomizing and doing all the things, and you've just loaded it up. And so you're good to go. So you're not needing to tell the system, if you're writing it in Python or whatever, to be able to code it, or to be able to basically mint it with that kind of, those characteristics and everything like that. So that's the difference. It's doing this for you, and this is free. NFTnator is free. So we always want to say shout out to the team for Diamond Hands and everything with that team for putting this out. It's based on your desktop. You can do this. But again, just like Sabrina was talking about, you've got to already have your categories, accessories, headgear, clothing, eyes. You're going to have variations. And so if you see things like, Bored Ape Yacht Club or any of these things, they're not making them one by one. They're loading all of these things up, and then they're going to be able to randomize and go from there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sabrina.
Yeah. And I like how, like, an NFTnator in that sidebar, that blue sidebar where you see like accessories, headgear, clothes, that's how you've decided when you upload your file, it automatically takes the names that you have and it uses that file name to give that trait. So, if you name your file angry.png, it's going to be angry when you upload it. And then also you can choose like which characteristic goes on top of another, so that you don't like end up blocking something out.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also, too, there's going to be a whole video, an overview. There's a step-by-step that's coming out tomorrow that's going to be concise. It's about 10 minutes long. You're going to be seeing us go through all of this as well. But now you have the opportunity right now to ask the artist how she did it, all of those things. And we're going to go a little bit more in depth of the project that you created as well. By the way, this whole project that you see where it says Atom Bomb Babies, and it's part of Third Web and everything. So we're using NFTnator, Third Web, and Card. We're doing this all with no-code platforms. We were able to do this on a Card site and with no code within the week, right? So very easy. We set up all of the minting process through Third Web. That was took about an hour. And then Sabrina's been working on all of the drawings for the last 3 days. Question, is the minting done by the maker or the buyer? Really good question. So you're going to first be able to mint the contract, or excuse me, let's back up. Let me make sure I'm using the words correctly. You're going to be making sure you're putting the contract on the blockchain. The artist is going to be doing that. The person buying is going to be minting. So you're seeing right here, you're embedding it onto your website. We're using a Card website. Once I paid the fees, the gas fees to write that contract, every time someone wants to mint, the buyer is going to mint. But I've already written in the contract beforehand the percentage of royalty every time they resell it or anything like that. That's what I'm already paying for the smart contract. I'm paying for everything to be on chain right there. And then the minting is going to be on the buyer side. Really good question. Yeah. And another layer to this, if you're looking at like, how is, you hear NFTs, you're not really sure, should you be doing it? Why is everyone so passionate about it, especially artists? Because things like this, where we said royalties, you could be making increased sales every single time the project blows up. So if you're looking at something like VeeFriends with Gary Vee, he's already taking a percentage every time it keeps going over and over again. Bikini Bottom Effects videos, thank you so much for being here. I saw you earlier in one of the videos. So congratulations. Yeah, keep going with your idea with creating your own platform for your cartoons and everything. I may be jumping ahead, but I presume the buyer will get to choose the art before minting. The buyer, it depends, because if you're going to be doing if you are jumping ahead, Lee. But no, if you're going to be going and you're having a minting and you're telling them you're going to get it randomized, the whole purpose is they don't necessarily know what they're going to be buying right there, right?
Yeah.
So that is going to be randomized. You're already going to be loading that up with NFTnator and then going from there.
And can I mention something too, which is really cool about NFTnator, is that if you do have specific, like if you want to have all of these things and you want to just design one that's special, or only have a few of those, then when you export them with all the metadata and everything, and you decide the rarity, you can include your saved design. So you can have one that's like a customized bunny that no one else will have. So instead of it just being random and shuffled.
Yeah. Yeah, really good point. Silicon Alley podcast. Oh man, great to see you here. I haven't seen you in a minute. So is this using Third Web? Yes. So you're going to use NFTnator and Third Web. We're using NFTnator to be able to build a large collection. Then we're going to be loading it into Third Web in a few moments, and we'll talk about that. Yeah. So it's a combination of the two, because without doing this right now, Third Web does not have something where you're going to be able to load it up easily to be able to shuffle and do all those things. A lot of people, if you're seeing where they're programming and doing it, they're using something like VS Code, they're doing it in a local environment, or they're using Replit to be able to create that, that basically creating that whole process of creating the collection. And then when you're clicking the button mint, then it's going to be minting a very specific, unique one, right? We're cutting out the coding here. So instead of doing automation through Python or another program language, we're using NFTnator to create that collection, randomize it for us, and then we're going to load it into Third Web to be able to have it. Great question. Okay. So let's talk about, yeah, let's see. Cool. Yeah, that was what I've seen in using VS Code to generate the art. Yeah, and we've done it before. The only thing is with VS Code, I don't like coding if I don't have to. If I have to, I'll do it. If I have to, I'll code. But a lot of times when I'm thinking about the array of doing the characteristics and everything, if I can find a no code solution, I will. So right now we have it, and it's free. It's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay, Sabrina, so go through, let's talk about picking a platform. Let's talk about designing the image. Do you have a breakdown? How did you do it and everything like that?
Yeah. So actually I have a time lapse of how like I did the original design if you want to see that.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
You can share your screen, I think.
Yeah, so I'm going to share this as a video file.
Mm-hmm.
And should be able to, that should be loaded up. Yeah, so this is just kind of like how I went about like drawing the base of it. So once you have like the general shape and everything in the base, you're going to have that line art first. So once I kind of got that the way that I wanted, I'm like, okay, so this is our standard bunny that we can use for everything else. So basically what I did is I removed the background and had just the line art, no color, just the black line art, and exported that as a PNG. So that was just a transparent PNG. Then after I did that, then I was able to do variations. So like in this one, in the second video that I have here, if you see that, it's kind of how I design like the fur colors and stuff like that. It'll kind of give you an idea of.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So that'll give you an idea. Like then I could take that, draw on top of it so that I knew how all the colors would fit inside the line art, because you don't want anything that's like outside. And then as you see here, my last step that I did is I removed the line art because that was just a guide for me how I was drawing it. Got rid of the background and just exported this itself as a transparent PNG. So basically when I had all of those, then I can show you how I have them all layered in the files if you want to see that.
Yeah. Let's see it real quick.
Okay, cool.
And that's, again, you were saying just layered, kind of like when we're looking at the Space Next, where it's automatically layered right there, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And I can show you how that what that looks like.
yeah,
Let me share this.
yeah,
All right. Yeah, you can see that. So basically, I downloaded the whole file once I had everything designed. And then, like I was saying, so we have our bases. So we have, um, different outlines. Like, this is the one that you just saw me do, the standard one. And then what can go inside of that is the different colors. And those are all separate files. And then when it came to accessories and things like that, those are all separate files on a transparent background. So the idea is that you can mix and match these. So every piece is separate. Even things like the makeup that some of them have, that's a separate file. But I drew them all on top of that original base so that I would know how it fit. I think that makes sense. Does that make sense?
yeah. I think that makes sense. And again, if some might feel like, well, I don't know how to do these things necessarily, I think this is a great step to, number one, know more about basic design, or reach out either to Sabrina, she does this, or look at other tutorials how to do design formatting like this. So
Yeah.
remember, if you're, this still takes a lot of skill. When a lot of people are like, well, I'll just pick this up and do it. Well, yes, but you also still need to have a base knowledge of other things if you want to do a composite project like this, if you want this many layers and everything like that.
Yeah, because if you're designing a character, like it definitely helps. I mean, you need to have like at least some basis in graphic design, um, but then a lot of people do NFTs where it's just pictures, so that's also a possibility. So
Yeah, exactly. So, and you'll see, this is, so then she designed the card site and everything like that. We'll talk about that in a second, but loading it up and then doing your lore, all that stuff. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so we just talked about picking a platform. We picked NFTnator and we picked Third Web. Designing the image, we did that. Lee says, liked how Sabrina planned it out. That's awesome. Yep, great stuff.
okay, cool.
The next part we're looking at is how we design the images. You talked about the layers, you talked about the PNG. And again, if people are interested in this, again, this is why we have the free guide. We want to make sure it's for everyone that can really start harnessing this. If you want more information, we're probably going to put out a starter kit, something like that. But if only if people want it. So we're going to talk about that. It will be like $7 or $12, something like that. That will have all the resources and then like all the things. But again, the Notion one right here, it's free, everything we're doing. So pick it up, try it out, do your research, and then go from there. The last thing to consider that we should talk about before we go further is talking about creating rarity and metadata. So talk about that a little bit, Sabrina.
Yeah, so once you plug all of this in, and like this is the demo project, you can go and adjust the traits and the rarity of each trait. So we just kind of went through it, like each one. Well, how rare do we want this one item to be? Like, do we want there to be only like two available of one outfit out of 100 some? So you can be very, very specific about, like how often, because it's also how often are you going to see the same accessories over and over. So you can change it and then it adjusts the percentage automatically, which is really cool.
Yeah. And I just love that. Especially I'm terrible at math and doing traits and trying to figure out like how many are in this collection, doing all this stuff. I would start at the top with the count, and then with your rarity, don't just jump around in this. It adjusts like top down or the rest of it. So I would say like if you're looking at variation one, think about that and then go down through the rarity of that collection. And then the next collection or the next accessories could be like headgear. Now you're again at the same count that you started of the major, of your entire collection. So imagine, is my total collection going to be 10,000, 100, 1,000? It's going to again round that out of every single entity for your NFTs, right? So then you adjust the total amount for your entire collection down here to make them more rare and all those things. Yeah.
Yeah, and when we were designing it, I tried to have between like 7 and 10 of each category, just to make sure that there's enough variety.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. We'll go into basic settings real quick. This allows you to decide for your exporting, for your metadata, Solana, Ethereum, and Polygon. That's really good to have because those are very common. Solana is a network, Ethereum, and then if you're looking at Polygon, that's a level 2. So that's a layer 2 blockchain. So that's on Ethereum. It sits on it. And so just keep that in mind. If you're looking at characteristics, what's more expensive, gas fees and all those things, it's going to be pretty much Ethereum all day long. But Solana, because you can do more transactions per second, it's going to be cheaper. And Polygon is going to be cheaper as well because it's a level 2. So it's just not going to be hitting the network as much. So your gas fees are going to drop down. So that's something to consider. Now, if you're also thinking about like, I'm trying to get paid, what's going on? What are people common, what do they buy on? A lot of times it's still Ethereum, right? If you're looking at OpenSea, all of those things, it's usually Ethereum, but Polygon has become a very good alternative as well. And there are some high profile NFT collections on Solana as well. You can look at the symbol, the supply, and then again, your fee share, total fee, all of those things. And again, you'll be able to see your address and be able to go from there. Okay. So that is part 1 that you're looking at how to pick the platform, how to design your images, and how to create your metadata to get ready to mint. You need to do all of these things before you bring it over to either Third Web, if you're using Nifty Kit, all of those things. You need to have all of this done even before you get to Third Web. Let's see. Lee says, this is amazing. Doc, can you explain the difference between Solana, etc. in ETH? Why choose one over the other? That's a great question. So it kind of just depends. There are some advantages, right? Okay, so let's go through a couple advantages. If I'm going to be minting a contract and I'm going to be doing this on Ethereum and I'm just getting started and I have limited funds, do you even have enough money to mint that first contract on Ethereum? Depending on how much you're willing to spend, because remember, you're going to be writing the smart contract for you to even go into the minting process. That still costs some amount of money. Do you have that money to be able to spend for Ethereum? So I would look at how much do you want to spend? The other thing is, what is the purpose of your project? Why are you creating the NFT? Are you creating the NFT as a basically at the admission to your DAO, your decentralized autonomous organization? Are you doing something like that? Or are you trying to sell it to make a profit and be able to scale your art or something like that? So I would consider, is it a part of the mechanics of your expanding brand and you just want them to easily now get involved into Web3 and you're using that as the first mechanism to get in? Or are you looking at it, profitability, and you want the project to blow up and go from there? Great question. Anything else you think, Sabrina? Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so great question. So we just looked at how to create it. This is all before you even bring it over to Third Web. Now, if people want to know about how we did this, we did a full breakdown, an hour video. I'm going to kind of go through the basics of how to do this right here. We're going to have a link down below of how to do this as well. It's a whole hour. We went through the process of how to mint 1, and then it's the same process if you're minting a whole collection. But if you want that, please let me know. We'll kind of go through an overview of this. And if you have more questions for Sabrina as well, the process of creating the NFT, doing the art, all those things, let me know in the comment section down below. By the way, Sabrina, spam in your chat your YouTube channel where you do all these kind of things. Tell people what you do on your YouTube channel as well.
So my YouTube channel is not typically digital art. It's scratch building and modeling. So that's kind of what I like to do in my downtime. But I do 3D printing tutorials and things like that once in a while too. So, but yeah.
Okay, good times. So we're going to be talking about this. Is this your channel? I'm going to put it in the chat real quick. And follow her, like and subscribe her channel if you want more information. And again, she does stuff all the time. So if you like this kind of material, we'll bring her back onto this channel as well. And we'll talk about more of the art, how to be able to do this, how you can start selling, doing those things if you're an entrepreneur or a brand trying to get ahead on Web3 as well. So let's talk about Third Web just for a little bit. We're going to do an overview if you're interested, okay? So this is the guide. It's all found right here in resources, but I'm going to show you what I would do and then get started. Okay, so if I'm going into Third Web, even to get started, you have to have a wallet. Let's just talk about this real quick. If you don't have a MetaMask, you cannot use this because you're going to be minting this um, uh, with your wallet, with with what your unique ID right there. So you're going to be able to mint it because you want to make money. It's going to have to go back into account. It's going to be associated with who minted it with your wallet address. You need to have one. So if you do not have MetaMask, you have to go out and make one. And we have videos on that in Docs and all of those things if you want to know more. After you are having that provision, you go into Third Web. And what I would do is, and if you look at this, I am building a project first on the test network first. What does that mean? When you're looking at Rinkybuy or Mumbai, those are test networks of the real networks, Ethereum and Polygon. Why does that matter? Because if I mess up on my collection and I put it on the blockchain, it's real, right? All of those things really happen. So I need to make sure I test out my minting process, make sure that I'm doing the minting correctly, and I can use fake Ethereum, fake money to be able to make sure all the mechanics are correct. Then I can go out and put it on the right put it on the right network. So on Polygon, on Ethereum, all of those things. So if you look at this, I created our DAO with Rinkybuy. I created our Atomic Bunnies test on Mumbai. So you go and you decide on what network. You say create. You can say a test network, and it says best for starting out and testing projects. So right now you can test on Mumbai and Rinkybuy. You can create your actual project on Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, and Phantom right now. They're going to be adding Solana coming up soon with Third Web. It's up to you. So once you create a project on Mumbai, I would pick Mumbai. That's just me. What's going to happen is they're going to ask you to make sure you have that test network attached to your MetaMask, so that way you can switch over to that network and be able to get money from a faucet. All a faucet just means is you're going to get fake money to test your minting process, all of those things. Once you have all of those things, you create a project. And the project, just imagine this, a project is like the entire universe of your brand. From there, you can add a module or add different parts of your brand. So that's when I can pick NFT drop, bundle drop. I can create a token, which is my own currency. I can do an NFT collection, bundle collection. I can do a marketplace, splits, packs, votes. Let's calm down. What you need to do is just do an NFT drop. And that allows you to have claimable drops of one of a kind NFTs, and then you go and create that. So if you're seeing something that says like ERC, I'm dyslexic, ERC 721, that's where you're creating that kind of contract to be able to create one of a kind NFTs. So if you see that a lot of times, you can find that with Open Zeppelin, all that kind of stuff. Basically, again, this is no coding. It does and sets up everything that you need to do right away. You're good to go. Okay, so you set up the drop, and once you set up the drop, you're going to have characteristics of the type of collection or drop you're going to do, right? So just like how it's Bored Ape Yacht Club, you're having an image, a name, description. You're going to be doing the same thing in your drop. So let me go back to my project. If we go to Atomic Bunnies, right here, the drop. Now we have everything, right? The name of the collection. We have all of these things associated with that drop. We'll talk about this in a second, but here are all of the different bunnies with the metadata and all of those things. So we'll go back again. So again, I'm going here, I'm saying add a module, NFT drop. I'm going to say now set up module. See, it says you are currently adding NFT drop. This module lets you set up a collection. You set up the collection, you say name, description, configuration, your symbol, and then you see where it says primary sale recipient address. That's so, again, when I'm putting it on the chain, it's associated with my wallet address. And also too here, the royalties, I can set up the royalty amounts. So if someone goes and sells my same NFT on OpenSea, I can get a percentage again if it gets resold to someone else. So that's awesome to have. Okay. Let me know in the comment section if you have any questions. So I can set up all of those things when I do the drop. The next part is I'm setting up the currency, the price per token, the mint supplies, right? I need to know how many I'm minting, all of those things. And remember, we already did it in NFTnator as well to know how many we have in it. So you want to make sure that it's correct on both ends. Don't create 10,000 in NFTnator and then you bring it over and you only have 8,000 on chain. Doesn't make sense, right? Question, what's normal for that percentage? It kind of depends on the project. I've seen 10 or 15% is pretty standard. I've seen up to maybe 20%, 25%. I find that 10 to 15 is pretty good. I think VFriends, I think Gary did 10 or I think it's 15% with Gary. I think it's 15%. Makes a lot of sense. And as the creator, again, you're looking at reoccurring revenue if the project blows up or if people are constantly trading in volume on OpenSea. That's just more money that allows you to support. I'm not saying, now you have money to just go buy a private island and do nothing with the collection. If you're creating a DAO or you're creating more incentives of why your community is great, now you can put money back into it because you have the resources and you're not constantly releasing more NFTs just because you're like, I need an infusion of cash. With royalties, now you're going to be able to expand your brand the way that you like. Yeah. Sabrina, do you have any thoughts on that?
Nope, not particularly.
Okay.
Covered.
So you can set up permissions here. You can have an admin, minter, transfer. You can do now where it says right here, this is the most important part. It says bulk upload. This is where the bulk upload, if you're going to be creating a set of 10,000, this is where it matters. So this is where you're going to need to have a CSV file that maps out all of your metadata. And this is what cost me several hours of sleep because you need another compiler to be able to have a one CSV file that has all of the PNGs. So bottom line, even if you create all of the metadata that you have over here, the traits and everything, you need to have another system or another piece of software or write it in Python or whatever to take all of your PNGs and to convert them to one CSV file to upload. Let me know if that makes sense. Sabrina, talk more about the project for a second because I gotta bring up the CSV file in a second.
No, that makes sense to me. Yeah. And I think again, I just want to talk about like how awesome it is that like all this is free and you can just use the demo project to do it. But let me see. I'm looking at too when you start generating them and exporting them. Yeah, because it initially exports them to what is it, JSON file?
JSON, yeah.
Yeah, but that was honestly probably like what took the most time. Like drawing them took several hours, probably about like 3 days worth of work, and then trying to get them put into a CSV file was the other big challenge.
So to tell you the truth, including the art and the setup, how long did it take us? It took us 4 days. Yeah. So how many hours did it take you? How many hours did it take you for drawing?
I'd probably say about 8.
Okay. So it took you 8 hours to do that. It took me one session of an hour to set up to do the first NFT just by itself, the test. then I'm telling you, to do the JSON and like the CSV file, that took me maybe another 7 hours of testing. And then that's what's going to happen in the resource guide that we're going to put out. We're going to have what we would use, how to actually go step by step. But I saw someone on Twitter who was talking about you could use it with Hexamatic. I guess there's one way of doing it. I found a really shady program. I mean, it wasn't shady. It was just really old. I mean, it looks like a GeoCities site, but it got the job done.
Those are honestly usually the ones that get the job done.
Yeah. And I mean, so I got that and it was done within the next 25 minutes once we categorize it. And then because you needed, oh, and I forgot one other thing, we needed one other information. Not only do you need the PNG information, but because it was a point, I needed a formula in another column to reorganize it, because when it saw the CSV file saw the number wrong. And so you needed to do a column and do a formula, reorder it. And so that took another 2 hours. So we had to call an expert for Google Sheets, had to learn how to do that. And so really it was just creating how to create a bulk upload. That took almost, I would say, half the time to learn how to do it. Once we did that, it automatically you do a bulk upload here, and then from there you're good to go, and that's fine. So like if you look at it, I say go here. I'm in the collection. I say bulk create. I need to drop the folder that has all of the PNGs in an association of one CSV file that does all those things.
And once you have all that data, even though you've done it as a test set, now if you want to publish it so that it's actually mintable, you can do that with the same data, correct?
Correct. Because once you have the collection, guess what? All it has is right here, embed code, and you just embed it and people can mint it on your site. So you can put it on any site. And just, again, we did it on the most basic site that we could find, Card. Not saying it's a bad site, but showing if it can work on Card, it can work on any site. And so you can have it on Card, you drop the code right there, and now you just can have people to mint your NFT and start making money, start building your project out, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
Ta-da. Okay, so that is the full breakdown. What we have, again, that's the full session. We've already done a couple different videos about this, but I find that the most common question is how to create the set of 10,000 or the NFT collection. So that's why we wanted to show you the basics today. And remember, this is what you're going to be doing. You're picking a platform. You're picking NFTnator. That's what we would pick. And then we're picking somewhere to be able to create the contract and to be able to mint. We use ThirdWeb. Both of those things can start for free. NFTnator is free, and ThirdWeb just takes a percentage of the total transaction. So it takes about a 5% real, transaction fee as you're doing that, which makes sense because you're doing all of these things and it allows you to be able to scale quickly. I look at it as like Stripe, but Justin, a friend of mine, picked out. It's more like Gumroad. It does all of the heavy lifting of putting it out into the market, and it's taking a percentage every time that you make a sale. So that's what ThirdWeb does, and ThirdWeb continually puts out new updates on what you're going to be able to do. Just like when you saw that you can do now voting rights, so you can have all of these mechanics of a DAO. It just keeps getting better and better. So again, that's why I'm going to be using ThirdWeb to make sure that you're going to be able to do that. Once you're able to pick the platform, you can design the images, have the different layers. And this is a preview of the collection that's going to be dropping. Again, we're dropping the collection, but this is going to be the NFT for you to be able to get into a DAO that we're launching. It's going to be called Build DAO. And inside, we're also launching our own token in currency as well. And you're on the road to see how you can be doing the same thing. The reason we're doing this, it's not just a cash grab, is so you can understand and be able to capitalize on Web3 if you want to do this as well. If you want to see the project of Atomic Bomb Bunnies, you can check out the card site and everything like that. That's just on the Mumbai test network. We'll put it up in a little bit. When are you dropping? We're gonna have the date announced by the end of the week. It's probably gonna be next Wednesday. We're probably gonna drop next Wednesday live. We're gonna have a live party. we're going to drop from there. Great question. I'm already on the site. You got it, Lee. Let's see. Brown Innovative Media says, so we should use Hexamatic to create the spreadsheet file. You could, yeah. And that was a suggestion of one of our that we asked on Twitter. We said, what would you use? So Hexamatic has that feature for you to be able to convert. I found that out too late. I already bought another thing. But if you're an AppSumo user and you've already got it, it's just another use case. Use what you've got. I think you have, like, depending on how many credits you get per month, I think it's over like 1,200. So if you're minting something and you need to convert, 1,000 PNGs into one CSV, you could be doing that as well. Yeah. So you could be. I haven't done it personally, but that's a viable option. And I'm always looking for, use the technology that you have. Use the technology that you have. Yeah, definitely.
And I think this is a really cool example too, that like, if you want to get into this, like, you really can do it almost basically for free, like just getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's gas fees and things like that. Is there any upfront cost to when you mint it on an actual network and not a test network?
So when you mint it on, besides the gas fees, not really, no.
Right.
Again, depending on which network you have, you're going to pay a different gas fee, right? So Ethereum is going to be more, all of those things. Question, what did I use? I use Wizard for convert data file.
That looks very legit.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, so, and like, you see these screenshots, I mean, it's exactly what you pay for. So that's what I used. I had to pay via PayPal. It was a PayPal link. This person is a genius. And this goes into my whole micro SaaS thing. Like, there's so many different ones this person has. It makes so much sense that they just put this out years ago and they just do simple maintenance. I guarantee you they're still probably making at least a couple, I would say probably 4 to 5 figures a month. I bet people like myself that just need very specific things. And they're just selling these small micro SaaS solutions. Or
is this a donation basis, this thing, or is
so
it?
you can do, so that's a great question. To get started, you can use it for free up to 20. To do a collection more than 20, you have to buy the license. The
20
license,
lines?
say it again.
20 lines in your sheet?
So I wouldn't even look at lines and sheet. It's just converting up to 20 PNGs into one CSV file.
Gotcha.
So it costs $49 for like unlimited. And then I was like, I kept doing it and I kept getting an error. They're like, oh, here's only 20. I'm like, how do I? They're like, pay $50 to get. I was like, fine, whatever. I know it looks shady, but it worked, and you're good to go from there. Yeah. So I'll put in listen, I don't want to hear anyone like, I can't believe he sent me to the shady site. Do your own research, do all those things. And that's why when someone's like, use this other AppSumo product, I'm like, it looks a lot more legit, but this is what I used. It worked. And I'm probably going to keep using it as long as it works, and go from there. Yeah. Great question. Again, so this has been the session where you're going to be going step by step creating the 10,000. If you want to see the minting process, remember we have a whole breakdown video. It's an hour-long video how to mint. It's on our other channel. So you might say like, well, why do you have 2 different channels? It's Maker Tech Tools, and Maker Tech Tools is kind of allowing us to do whatever we want, and it's more of laid back hackathons, and sometimes it's more experimenting and just understanding what's happening. And sometimes we make a lot of mistakes or it's really off topic. So that's why we don't post it onto this main channel, like how Kim Kardashian made so much money and breaking down her tech stack. Sometimes it doesn't translate to this main channel. So if you're interested in how we did the hackathon for building the NFT, the link is down below right there in the comment section. It's an hour. It's with Justin, who is a maker, and he's a much better developer than me. He does Ruby on Rails. He does Ruby, and then he does all of his projects there. So he walked us through how to do it. By the way, one last thing, I think people just don't know how powerful what NFTs are going to allow you to do, or how you can, increase your engagement with your community. With Third Web, you can even have oh, thanks for your help. Well, thank you so much for the donation. I really do appreciate this. Brown Innovative Media, thank you so much for the super chat. Not necessary, but we really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Really do. Again, we do this for free because we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to be able to go out and create something and own your own property and to understand Web3 to take advantage of it. So thank you very much. And hopefully everything goes well. And again, if you want more information, let us know. So again, Third Web. Oh, last thing with, yeah, I got off track. Third Web, what's interesting is you can even have an NFT set up by people watching a certain amount of your content in your membership. And then if they're watching or engaging a certain amount, it awards them the NFT. So you could actually set up in your membership site, if you watch 10 minutes, if you watch this whole video, then you get credit and you can drop NFTs or drop different tokens for them. So it's really that like play to earn kind of style. Similar if you see, Axes and all this kind of things where people are trying to figure out gamification and how you can do it with blockchain, you can be doing that as well. So a lot more to come out. If people like this kind of content, you like Third Web, you like what we're talking about, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We do this every single week. Again, thank you so much for Sabrina to stop by and tell us about how to create this. Remember, if you like this kind of content and you want to know more about the art aspect, how to do the layering, follow Sabrina on her channel. And if you want us to bring her back to explain more about NFTs, all of those things, we're going to be able to do that in the future as well. Again, everyone, thank you so much for joining. And by the way, how do we get notified of the drop? It's going to be announced on Twitter and it's going to be announced on this channel as well. So if you want to be the first one to know about when it drops, make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to be telling our community first, and we'll be dropping very soon with our NFT collection. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. And again, thank you so much for joining. Have a great day. Good night.